Esa proclama es patria o muerte.
There is one face that has appeared on more t-shirts, posters, and walls than almost any other in human history. A man who was a doctor, a guerrilla fighter, a government minister, and an executioner. A man some call a hero of the poor, and others call a cold-blooded killer. This is the true story of Ernesto Che Guevara. Early life, Argentina. Ernesto Guevara de la Serna was born on June 14, 1928, in Rosario, Argentina, into a middle-class family with leftist sympathies. From childhood, he suffered severe asthma, a condition that would haunt him his entire life, yet never slow him down. He was a voracious reader. By his teenage years, he had devoured Marx, Lenin, Freud, and Nietzsche. He was sharp, stubborn, and intensely curious about the world beyond Argentina's borders. The Motorcycle Diaries. In 1952, 23-year-old Ernesto and his friend Alberto Granado set off on a motorcycle across South America, through Argentina, Chile, Peru, Colombia, and Venezuela. What he saw changed him forever. He witnessed extreme poverty, indigenous people stripped of their land, miners dying of silicosis with no health care, and a brutal gap between the rich elite and the suffering masses. He wrote in his diary, "I am not the same man I was before." He wasn't. Radicalization, Guatemala, and Mexico. After completing his medical degree, Guevara traveled to Guatemala in 1953, where the democratically elected socialist president Jacobo Arbenz was redistributing land from the United Fruit Company, an American corporation, back to poor farmers. In 1954, the CIA orchestrated a coup and overthrew Arbenz. Guevara watched it happen in real time. For him, this was proof. The United States would never allow Latin America to free itself peacefully. Revolution, he concluded, was the only path. He fled to Mexico City, and there, in 1955, he met a Cuban exile named Fidel Castro. The Cuban Revolution, 1956-1959. Fidel was planning to return to Cuba and overthrow the US-backed dictator Fulgencio Batista. Guevara joined immediately, not as a doctor, but as a fighter. In November 1956, 82 men crammed onto a small boat called the Granma and landed in Cuba. Batista's forces were waiting. Within days, only about 20 survived. They retreated into the Sierra Maestra Mountains. From those mountains, Guevara proved himself the most ruthless and effective commander in the rebel army. He was fearless under fire. He organized ambushes, trained peasants into soldiers, and built supply lines. He was also deeply committed to educating the fighters, setting up schools in jungle camps. His column marched hundreds of miles across Cuba. On January 1st, 1959, Batista fled. The revolution had won. Power in Cuba, the other side. After victory, Guevara was given enormous power. He became head of the La Cabaña fortress prison, where he oversaw the execution of hundreds of Batista-era officials, soldiers, and alleged collaborators. Estimates range from 150 to over 500 executions. He never denied this. He called it revolutionary justice. He became president of the National Bank, then Minister of Industry. He pushed for rapid industrialization and collectivization. The economy struggled. His economic policies largely failed. But he never stopped believing. His ideology, the new man. Guevara's vision went beyond politics. He believed the revolution had to create what he called El Hombre Nuevo, the new man. a human being motivated not by money or self-interest, but by moral duty, collective sacrifice, and love for humanity. He himself worked voluntary labor on Sundays. He gave up his salary. He wanted to prove the idea was possible. Whether you agree with him or not, he lived what he preached. He wrote, "The true revolutionary is guided by great feelings of love." The Congo, 1965. By 1965, Guevara felt Cuba had become too comfortable, too bureaucratic. He wanted to export the revolution. He secretly traveled to the Congo in Africa to help lead a Marxist uprising. It was a disaster. The local fighters were disorganized and unmotivated. The mission fell apart within months. Guevara himself wrote that it was a failure and that he felt profoundly alone. He returned quietly, his whereabouts unknown to the world. Bolivia, the final mission, 1966-1967. In 1966, Guevara entered Bolivia in disguise with a small band of guerrillas, convinced he could ignite a continent-wide revolution from the Bolivian highlands. He was wrong. The Bolivian peasants didn't rise up. The Communist Party of Bolivia refused to support him. His radio communications were compromised, and the CIA, along with US-trained Bolivian rangers, hunted him relentlessly. On October 8, 1967, he was captured in a ravine near the village of La Higuera. Wounded and exhausted, he reportedly told his captors, "I am Che Guevara, and I am worth more to you alive than dead." They didn't agree. Execution, October 9, 1967. The next day, October 9, 1967, Ernesto Che Guevara was executed by a Bolivian soldier named Mario Terán, who hesitated before pulling the trigger. Guevara was 39 years old. His hands were cut off as proof of his death. His body was buried in secret for 30 years. In 1997, his remains were found and returned to Cuba, where he was reburied with full honors in Santa Clara. Legacy. And then something strange happened. The man they tried to erase became immortal. In 1967, Irish photographer Alberto Corder's portrait of Guevara, taken 7 years earlier, was printed on a poster. It spread across the world. Students in Paris, protesters in America, revolutionaries in Africa, all adopted his image. Today, it is the most reproduced photograph in history. He became a symbol of resistance, of anti-imperialism, of rebellion against injustice, but also a controversial one. Critics point to the executions, the authoritarian methods, the failed economic policies, the romanticization of violence. The truth is, Che Guevara was all of these things at once: a genuine idealist, a ruthless killer, a brilliant strategist, a catastrophic economist, a man who gave up wealth, comfort, and eventually his life for a cause he believed in completely. Whatever you think of him, the world has not forgotten him. That was the true story of Che Guevara. If you found this video valuable, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the people and events that shaped our world. Leave a comment. Was Che a hero, a villain, or something more complicated? The debate is still alive.